my school district and my teachers union didn't want to just hide the curriculum from me. They wanted to ruin my life just for asking for it. And I don't want that to happen to any other parent in America.
I'm not giving up my rights because of a bullying teachers union thinks that they're going to push me around and try to trick me, because guess what? I'm also a lawyer. I have free lawyers and I have no fear. So they picked on the wrong mom.
All right, Nicole, thank you so much for joining me. I'm so incredibly blessed to have you on. I heard your story. I made a video on my YouTube channel a while ago about your story, and I was infuriated with the idea that as a parent, because I'm a parent as well, that if you ask the school district, what are you teaching my kids? Show me what you guys are promoting, because as a parent, I need to know. So I wanted to talk to you about this whole scenario. I know you live in Rhode Island. You have 2 children. One of your children, I think your girl, was the one that was involved in the school situation. So can you explain how you ended up getting sued from the school district, I believe, for just trying to be an active parent?
Yeah, so I'll start at the beginning. It's almost 2 years ago, and I'll try to be as concise as possible. So I'm just a regular parent, stay-at-home mom, enrolling my daughter in kindergarten. I called the school and asked if they were teaching gender theory and critical race theory. They got really nervous. They said that they don't call kids boys and girls. They use like not gendered terminology. Then they embed the values of gender identity into the classroom. And with critical race theory, they said, oh, well, we teach a certain line of thinking about history. For example, we ask, what could we have done differently on the first Thanksgiving? And so I didn't understand any of this. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I don't get it. And then I started asking all these questions and they didn't want to answer them. First, I emailed them a list of like 25, 30 questions. And they said, oh, you have so many questions, submit public records requests. I didn't even know, like, I've never submitted a public records request in my life or anything. And the school has a link on their website. When I did that, because they said this was the only way I could get like any question answered, they were trying to stonewall me. I submitted like 160 public records requests, like for any question. My school board then flipped out and they had a public meeting where literally it was all about me. My name was on the agenda. They had like one other thing on the agenda for like 5 minutes. And then they just talked about me. They called me racist. They said that I was with some national group and this was an attack on them. They put all my public records requests on the screen to like analyze them one by one. And they were like, why would someone ask something like that? It was a struggle session, which is the government putting on this spectacle to vilify a private citizen for doing something wrong to the government, right? It's very Maoist, very communist. And
Nicole, I just want to get this in perspective, and I'll let you continue. So, were you at this meeting, or you heard about? You were there?
Yeah, as soon as I saw my name on the agenda, I was like, "What?" And so I went to the meeting. I called the media immediately because I knew that this was extraordinary, even though I've never been to a school board meeting before in my life. I got ahead of the ball. I wrote a blog with a website called legalinsurrection.com because I knew that they were going to try to get me. I knew that they were going to try to like destroy my life in the media. And I wanted to be the first one to say something about what they were doing to me. So then they had to respond to like what I did. So at this meeting, 5 hours long, they like said their case against me, why I'm such a bad person, called me racist. And then they had people speak in public comment. One by one, people came up, said what they thought about me. One girl turned to me. I don't know these people. One girl turned to me and said, your ancestors skinned my ancestors alive. She doesn't know my ancestry. How does she know that? But, you know, it was really to just like create all of this hostility toward me and ostracize me when I had just enrolled my daughter in the school district. They wanted to send a message that like, if you do what she does, we're going to do this to you. And now look at her. She's ostracized from the community. But I fought back. It backfired on them. I went on Tucker Carlson. I went on the news. And I just like got myself in the media as much as possible because, you know, we all live in this country. We see what they do to people when they call you racist publicly. You have to fight back or they're going to destroy you. So they lost. They decided not to sue me. And then after that, 2 months later, the teachers union, the NEA, largest one in the country, filed a lawsuit. And what this lawsuit says is we don't want information coming out of the public records request that I submitted, that Nicole submitted. And they're alleging that if information comes out that I requested, their teachers are at risk of harassment by national conservative groups. And the complaint even included an article from the Daily Signal writing about what happened to me. So they're talking about people like you are going to harass them because of my public records requests.
Well, you know what? Maybe they need a little bit of reflection, because that's, it's funny because they think they own our children. You know, it's like they're supposed to be a servant. They're supposed to come and assist parents. They're supposed to come educate. And we have the final say as parents as to what we want our children to be taught and what we don't want them to be taught, what things are appropriate for our children. We know our children's aptitude for being subjected to certain things, especially sexual things. Yeah. We want them to know true history. We don't want them to know biased, coerced type history with a worldview of white people bad. That's not what we want. And the crazy thing is they literally wanted to sue you, intimidate you, because they didn't want the truth of all these nefarious things that are going on to be made public. That is as asinine to me.
Yep. And so amazingly, so my attorneys were arguing, you can't sue this person, me, because a teachers union, an outside group, doesn't have standing to sue me and the school to prevent this from happening. It would be like you getting a divorce and then me like filing a lawsuit against you, say you can't get a divorce. It's like, who are you? What do you have to do with this? But amazingly, because we're in Rhode Island and the Rhode Island court system can be kind of scary, to say the least, the judge found standing. So now we're proceeding, and they have to prove that all of my public records requests were a sham, to try to say that I did this as like some political ploy, when really my school told me to do it. All of my requests are legitimate questions, and they refused to engage me unless I did what they told me to do with these requests. So, I mean, this is just like a waste of my time. This is a waste of the court time. And the whole time, the school and the lawyers were pressuring me to just withdraw from the lawsuit. Every time I did a local interview, a news reporter would say, why don't you just withdraw? Oh, you say they're bullying you. Why don't you withdraw from the lawsuit? And the answer why I didn't withdraw is because A, I don't run away from bullies, right? If a bully comes up to you in the lunchroom, you don't just give them your lunch money and run away. I'm like, oh, you want to fight in a lawsuit? I will fight back. And then secondly, it's because if I did withdraw from a lawsuit, I relinquish all of my rights to that information that I requested. I'm not giving up my rights because of a bullying teachers union thinks that they're going to push me around and try to trick me, because guess what? I'm also a lawyer. I have free lawyers and I have no fear. So they picked on the wrong mom.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love when Mama Bear come out. Listen, my wife is just as, you mess with my wife, she will take you down, and she do not give up. She's like a pit bull. When she lock on, she's going to the death. We had a person that sued my wife for defamation. The fool had no real lawsuit because he was a public figure. And he was, taking advantage of the people. He was taking donation money and doing nefarious things with them. He was cheating on his wife, kissing girls in the hallway, doing all kind of stuff. And people were coming to my wife about how these people who are running for office are taking advantage of the system. She calls him out, her and two other housewives, and he decided to sue him and try to bully my wife and these other women. And he clearly lost. He ended up withdrawing with prejudice, so therefore he can never bring the suit back. And now he's trying to run away from paying us because he owes us all our lawyer fees and all of the above. But I tell you what, I love the Mama Bear spirit, because we need to fight. And there's nothing like a mama. I'll tell you what, and I bet you're just like my wife. My wife, my son is just her world. She don't even want him to cry. I'm like, I tell her sometimes, let him cry, he'll be fine. She like, no, he's going to be traumatized. And she goes in there and hugs him all night long. And when you mess with a mama's baby, it's on. And I tell you what, Nicole, we support you. And I know that it's a lot of things that I still want to talk about, but like, is there a certain fund or something that you're doing that my audience can help out on, and we can all come together and help you fight this fight?
I really appreciate that, but I don't need money because my lawyers are free. So I have lawyers at the Goldwater Institute. They're a public interest group, and really these
Awesome.
public interest groups are here to help parents like us that are being attacked by their government. And I just want to say like why the mama bear thing is happening, and that's because like this isn't just like a lawsuit. Like this is my life, you know, like these are my kids, and they're not just like, this isn't just like a fight for information. This is a fight with people that truly want to destroy your lives if you challenge them. So they are making it way more personal than it needs to be. You know, like there have been fights over public records forever, since public records have existed. But this is like, you know, how dare you ask for these records? We're going to destroy you. And that's really is what is fueling me to fight back, because I feel like my whole life and reputation depends on this, and my kids, because if you know, they're going to grow up and be teenagers and look up stuff on the internet, and I want them to see that I fought for them. I don't want them to see like, you know, all leftist media just railroaded me. I want them to see all the other media that's defending me too.
I love that. I love that. And what do you think is the biggest reason behind the stuff that they're trying to teach? I mean, they're literally, I saw in Florida just yesterday, I did a video about Ron DeSantis, and they're literally banning books. They banned 170 plus books from the school system. And it's only 23% of the school districts in Florida that are reporting this. They've already banned, out of those 23%, they've banned 170 books, and 155 books were determined to be pornography that they're putting in schools. And so just your opinion as a mom, as an informed person, what do you think their objective is to push this critical race theory and to push sexualization on our young people?
They really think they're doing something good because they've been captured by a cult ideology that says racism can be used as a power for good. And racism and racial discrimination can never be used for good. And they just refuse to return back to the American paradigm of racial discrimination is bad no matter what. We focus on the content of the character and the merit of the individual. For some reason, they have now like seen way too many videos of Black people being killed by police without putting it into context of individual circumstances, that they've been convinced that there is a conspiracy theory of systemic racism. It's an unfalsifiable premise. You're not allowed to even pick at that unfalsifiable premise. How dare you even try to falsify it? And therefore, we are now deputizing ourselves as like the race and gender saviors of the children, because we have to save the children, have them think like us, so that way they continue our quasi-religious mission to save the country, when really they're destroying the country, thinking that they're saving it.
I've never heard it explained as eloquent as you just explained it. That's pretty interesting that they think they're doing good. They really think, I mean, some of them may be a little more malicious, but I do think when I see the zeal that they have in these situations, I'm like, these people must really believe that they're doing something right. They're complaining about Ron DeSantis removing these books from school, like as if they're really getting attacked and that they're really protecting young Black kids. And it's really a false premise. But I want to jump to another area, because I know that this happened about 2 years ago, but you have now removed your daughter from that particular school. Can you explain the process of removing your daughter from that school and then putting her into a better school?
Yeah. So another thing my school district did to me that was really psychotic, they hired a PR firm to smear me in the national media. And so like when all this started, and then I saw that come out in the news, I was like, these people are psychotic. Like, I don't feel safe in school. We have all this talk about like your kids feeling safe in school. I was like, I don't feel safe here anymore. So I went to a school just down the street to me. It was a private school. It's a Catholic school. I didn't grow up with a religion. I went to public school. So I really didn't think twice about what school to go to. I thought I was just going to enroll in public school and then ask about the curriculum. It was easy with them. I got a tour like the day I called. I couldn't get a tour at the public school. They refused, even though they were giving tours to other people. They told me they'll send me whatever materials I want to see. And I, up front said, are you doing anything with like the gender stuff or the critical race theory stuff? No, these are our values. Then, obviously if someone comes here and they have like a gender dysphoria, we'll be compassionate and help them, but we're not going to rearrange our entire school to accommodate something that we don't believe in. It was so easy. And, it was a blessing in disguise. We love it there now. I couldn't get any of that in my public school. They wouldn't let me see the classroom before I dropped my daughter off. No tour, wouldn't answer my questions, immediately treated me like an enemy. No communication except the communication of public records requests, and then we're going to sue you. And now at my private Catholic school, like every email gets a response. And, it's not like I'm saying private schools are perfect. Like, I've had issues where like I didn't get my way, and it's like, all right, fine, I can't always get my way. But at least we could talk about it. At least we could talk about the best way to teach our kids and raise them, right? So, parents are reasonable, but we're not going to let people bully us. As soon as you let us know that this is war, then fine, it's war, game on.
I love that. I wish my wife could be a little third person on here to talk, because I just love the fact that that's the spirit that we need to have all together. Husbands, wives, parents, we need to have the spirit of saying, no, you guys are not going to bully us. You guys are not going to somehow turn this into a gaslighting situation. These are our children. You guys must be crazy to think that you're going to take over our children, take over their minds, because at the end of the day, they're our kids. They have to come home to us. We have to make sure that they're productive members of society, where they can grow up once they're past the 12th grade and get out of the school system, that they got to grow up and be prosperous. They got to grow up and have a positive worldview so they can be, able to accomplish things in life. And it's funny because I feel like they've also, because they went to school to become a teacher, be an educator, that they somehow think they're smarter than every parent, as if because I didn't go to school to be an educator or become a teacher, that I somehow don't know what should be taught and the best method of teaching my child. They have gotten to this point where they think they lord over us. And the same thing with our government officials. They think because we've elected them to be representatives, that they're no longer representatives, they're our gods. And they know best because they're in a position of power. And I think that's so destructive. And we have to slap them every time we get a chance, not physically slap them, but, figuratively slap them every time we get a chance.
Exactly. They think that they are our feudal overlords. And, how dare you challenge them? But that's the beautiful thing about America. America is all about challenging your government. The whole point of America is that you can challenge your government without your government killing you, because that's how it works in other countries. So I agree with you. This is why it's so important to keep reminding them that, like, oh, no, public records requests, I'm not harassing you with public records requests. It's impossible to harass a government, which is a center of power with money and a police force that can come and get me and ruin my life. Like, I'm not the bully here. You guys are the one with all the power. So they like doing this gaslighting and victim blaming and making it seem like little old me, like stay-at-home mom, is the bad guy. It's like, I don't have any power up against institutional power.
Right. I love it. And I'm so thankful that you're standing up, and I hope you encourage a lot more people to do the same. And that's why I want to interview you. This is not going to be a long, crazy interview. I want it to be short and sweet and to the point. I wanted people to hear your voice and get a chance to hear from you directly, because all they had a chance to do was see you at the podium and me doing the video. But I want them to get kind of a sense of who you are and kind of what you represent, how that lawsuit actually occurred. And I just want to finish with just a few more questions. What is the importance, in your opinion, of a family, a strong family unit? Because, we have families out here that are very diverse, right? We have families where people are divorced, but in some cases they may be divorced, but they get along very well. They work in the best interest of the children, and the kids have their father in their life, they have their mother in their life, even if they're not in the same household. But then we also have the dynamic of what I think is the best, most equitable way to do it, if possible, is to have a two-family unit, a two-parent unit, where you can raise your kids and they see mommy and daddy every single day. So my question to you, as a parent, as a loving parent, clearly you will go to war for your kids. What is the importance of having a family, a structure in place for our children?
It's the number one priority in America. Families are the bedrock of America. Like, I look at my kids, and like, there's no hurdle that I'm not willing to overcome in my family or my marriage, because you can see how vulnerable they are and how much they need stability, that it's like, okay, we got to stay together. We're making this work because it's for them now. It's not really about us anymore. And, I think when we grow up in America, we all sort of are taught, at least my generation was, that like a family is kind of like secondary to a career. And I mean, I got married late in life because I bought into that. I was going to have this awesome career. My husband too. We were both like, oh, marriage, kind of scary. And now we've never been happier in our life. And it's like you get married and you have kids, and you are now incentivized to be a better person. You're incentivized to make more money because you have something to live for now. So for us, or at least for me, like my family is like why I'm doing all this. I mean, I would just be lost if I didn't have my husband and my kids. I don't have a purpose.
I love that. And also, what's your husband's role in this? You know, because as you know, my wife is a bulldog. I said she was going after the guy, and I'm the support system. I'm the financier if we have to, you know, take it there. But you know, I'm very supportive of my wife. She comes in and talks to me about these issues. I give her advice on it. I try my best to let her lead on that. You know, given the fact that that's her passion and that's what she want to do. If need be, Papa Bear will jump on it if I have to. But I know my wife is taking the lead on it. She's enjoying the fact that she's able to prove that she's never backing down, and her husband don't have to step up and, you know, push her to the side and say, baby, I got this. I'm supporting her and doing what she's doing very, very well. So what's your husband's role in this, and how did he feel about this whole situation?
Same thing. He's super supportive of me. You know, if you met him, he's like me on steroids. Like, I mean, you think I'm like Mama Bear? Oh my God, you'd be terrified of him. But he is a college professor in a university. So we have decided to keep him out of the limelight with a more private life because he makes the money for our family. And, you know, if they try to attack him, I don't know what we would do. So he's just the behind the scenes support, and thank God for that, because you need that balance, and he's keeping our family alive. So
yeah. And I want to ask you this, Nicole, what do you think about that dynamic? Because in this world, and you had alluded to it just a second ago about, you know, getting married later in life. And to me, I'm starting to think differently about marriage later in life or early in life. Cause I always tell me, get married early, just get it out. And now I'm like, well, wait a minute, because I think that people need to find themselves to a certain degree, become comfortable with themselves, love themselves, you know, have some passion in life. So you're going in a direction where you can meet the right man that's going in the direction, because some people get married a little too early and they begin to grow apart because they haven't even found out who they really are, and they don't have the capacity to love another person. They just think it's the right thing to do. So with you having that experience, I got married, I think 30, and we got married 3 years ago. So do the math. I was like 31, 32 years old. My wife she's 4 years older than me. So we kind of got married later. You know, I had an earlier situation where when I was in college, I was engaged. I had a kid. We didn't work out, you know, and he's 12 now. So 11 years later, I got married. So what is your take on kind of pursuing the career, or not pursuing the career, but never giving up on the opportunity to get married? Because you could have said, I'm never going to get married or whatever. It's too late in the game. I'm never going to get married. But you didn't choose that. So can you just speak to some of the women in my audience, or whoever in the audience, about getting married late and how that has been invaluable in your life?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely knew who I was. I got married around 30, 31 as well. And my husband, I think, was like 34, 35. And like, we were pretty like accomplished for our own limitations and potential. Like, I went to law school, he went to grad school. So like we knew who we were. And you're right, you have to know who you are. Well, I guess what I've learned is that I knew who I was much earlier in life, and I was scared of getting married because I was kind of taught to be scared of it. Like, it could ruin your life. You have kids, you got to quit your job. And I think if you know who you are earlier in life, and you know that the person you love knows who they are too, I don't think it's bad anymore to get married at 22 or 23. Yeah. So obviously it's like a chicken egg problem. How do you know who you are? The other thing is that one of the best advice I got when I got married was stay married, because it always gets more interesting. Yeah. And if you can just get through the hard times, it's gonna subside. Obviously, nothing to do with like abuse and stuff like that, because I don't think it's staying married for that. But that was the best advice I got, because it really has gotten more interesting. And at least for us, it's like this wild ride. And you do keep changing. Like, I'm not who I was exactly when I first married my husband, right? Like, things come out about your personality, and you just have to love how you grow together.
And another thing is that, you know, there's this stigma that goes around in families where you know, it's a stigma of being a stay-at-home mom, being you know, like people are like, why would you do it? It's so barbaric now. Your husband is, you know, he won't let you be free and be who you really want to be. You have to stay at home with the kids as if it's a bad thing. Can you just talk just real quickly about the beauty of having the opportunity to be there for your children as a stay-at-home mom?
I quit my job. You know, I was practicing law, and I had a long commute. I was getting home late at night. I was emotionally exhausted, physically exhausted. And, you know, even though I could fake it and like be like, hi, you know, I didn't feel it. And I wanted to enjoy being a mom. And I just thought like, wow, on the day that I'm going to die, am I going to look back on my life and be like, I just wish I did more work at the office? No, I'm going to wish that I have more memories with my kids. And then the other side to this is that like, I can go back to work. Like once my kids are old enough and are in school, maybe I will have a full-time job again because they're going to be busy too. So you can compromise, you don't have to give up everything. And a lot of my friends that are lawyers now and working moms, like I've had so many of them send me a message and just be like, I just want to be home with my kids. Like you know, and that's okay. But there is so much pressure. I remember I had a college professor who said, Nicole, like you're standing on the shoulders of women that died for you to have a career. I can't believe you're even thinking about just like being a mom. And I thought to myself, those women aren't taking care of my kids. They're dead. Like, I don't have anything to prove to anybody. It's my life.
1,000%. I love that. I love that because there is this pressure. You know, my wife did the same thing. You know, we first got together and she had worked for like 14 years in retail. She was making more money than I was making at the time. And, you know, when we got together and we got married, I said, you know what, baby, I don't want us both slaving over a job. I want you to stay at home. We'll have we'll have a baby and you can, and she just enjoys it so much because my wife all day long, she just with Bo, my little son all day long. You know, when we first had Bo, and I was a little bitter about it, you know, because I was like, I don't get no quality time because when he was first born, all the way up to like 8 or 9 months, she would sleep in his room every single night because she wanted to. And this is a thing my wife said to me that just changed me because I'm like, sleep train him, you know, put him down, let him cry a little bit, he'll get over it. But my wife is like, well, I may only get one chance at this. I don't want to put him down and let it. I'd rather sit in here and cuddle him and love on him as much as I can, as long as I can. And as a man, I had to say, okay, that makes sense, babe. I won't argue with you. So 9 months, she slept in there. I slept in my bed. And so I think it's beautiful that women can express that, and they can, when they get pregnant, they can actually stay with their children. They have to rush back to work and go through postpartum issues. Yeah. So I think that's amazing. And Nicole, thank you so much for coming on and having this conversation with me. It's been an amazing conversation with you. One day I wish that, you know, I could have interviews, you know, person to person, but it's been an amazing interview. And I thank you so much for being bold, for being strong, for being courageous, for being mama bear. I mean, obviously you seem like an incredible wife, an incredible member of society that believes in freedom. And so I just want to say thank you so much for you being you. And if you have anything else you want to add, you can go ahead and add it now. Where can people find you on social media, if that's what you want, or whatever the case may be?
Yeah, my Twitter is Nicoletta0602. And I'm also a senior fellow with the Independent Women's Forum. You can check out what they're doing. And also check out Goldwater Institute, especially if you want to submit public records requests on your school district to know what they're doing, which you absolutely should. It's your right. The Goldwater Institute has lots of information about how you can do that.
Awesome. Awesome. God bless you. Thank you, Nicole. And thank you for joining me. And hopefully you keep fighting a good fight, and I'll make some more videos.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, if you enjoyed this video, I put out 3 videos a day. So make sure you go to the playlist that says new video and watch more videos. Subscribe to this channel. Let's go, baby.